What is up guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Dr. Hamstag. Over here is the Galaxy S21 Ultra. It is time to talk about this phone. So yes, it has been a month or so since I've been using this, and initially I wanted to give you a long-term review of the S21 Ultra just to tell you how bad or how good it has been over the past 1 month or so in terms of usage. But over here on this channel, we like to do things a bit differently, so I want to give you a Foresight review. So let's wear our psychic hats, let's look into the future, back to the future kind of stuff, and tell you why and how I feel the S21 Ultra would be able to hold up against the many phones that will be coming out in 2021. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So yes, normally Samsung comes out with their first set of flagships with the Galaxy S series, S, not S. But yes, they're going to come out with the S series within the first quarter of the year, during the end of March, beginning of April. Then they will come out with the Galaxy Note series as well during the August period. But to be honest, here I don't think that they will be coming out with a full Note 21 lineup. I don't think they're going to come out with a Note 21, 21 Plus, 21 Ultra. They might come out with a Note 21 FE, maybe with an EXYNOS 1080, but I don't think here personally for me that they're going to come out with a full-on flagship for the Note 21 series. Because if you see what they are doing with their fold lineups, their flip lineups, I don't think they're going to have the time and resources to go on to another so-called basic phone. So it looks like with the Galaxy S21 series and over here, the S21 Ultra, this would be their ultimate, basic flagship phone for 2021. So yes, 2021 has been interesting for most of us, and Samsung, they released their phones beginning of this year around mid of January, and most people like us, we got the phones by end of January, early February. And it's been interesting because there are not many other flagship phones right now in the market. And right now, the only ultimate flagship phone you can get right now is the Galaxy S21 series. So when you put your phone so early in the year, it opens up, more possibilities for other phone companies to come out with better phones, better specs, better features to beat your phone, because they're putting your bar right here so fast and people can already see what you're up against, and they can just tweak around some things. But I'm going to talk about how the S21 would be able to hold up against those kind of competition. And yes, the competition definitely includes Xiaomi. They have released the Xiaomi Mi 11 already. And yes, if anything history goes by, Xiaomi will release a Mi 11 Ultra, a Mi 11 Pro, and maybe if they follow what they did in 2020, they might even release a Mi 11T series as well. And they never stop there. They have their Pocophone series, which is a so-called independent brand. They have their Redmi series. They have so many phones that will be coming out this year, which is just insane. And of course, we have other stuff from China. We have Oppo with their Oppo Find X3. We have their Reno series as well. We have Realme from also a sub-brand from Oppo. And then of course, let's not forget about Huawei. They are still in the Android world. They are of course slowing down, but of course they're still there. They're still a big company, and if things changes, Huawei, I feel, can go up pretty fast. And of course, we have other stuff like from OnePlus. They are releasing their OnePlus 9 series as well, the 9 and 9 Pro, maybe a 9E or 9R. And yeah, that one also, it would be, putting the Samsung up there and challenging them right at the top, because we all know OnePlus is already at the flagship level, so nothing's going to stop them. And it has been pretty interesting because they were never really that good when it comes to camera, and this year they are so-called collaborating with Hasselblad, so it's going to be pretty interesting just to see how OnePlus is going to do in 2021. And of course, we have stuff, of course, from Apple with their iPhone 13 as well. Yeah, say what you want about Apple, but you know what? They have one of the biggest sales there is out there. And of course, not to forget, there will be other brands as well like HTC, LG, Sony, and all this. They could come out with a surprise phone, so there's going to be a lot of competition. So yes, today I want to go through some key specs and features of the Galaxy S21 Ultra and why I think by end of 2021, this would still be the ultimate flagship phone. So yes, the first thing I'll talk about is the build and design of the S21 Ultra. And you know what? I gotta say, I really love this. I know I say this a lot about many flagship phones, but I gotta say, with the S21 Ultra, it is really special. Every morning when I wake up, I just want to look at the S21 Ultra because it just looks really good. And the fact that Samsung has actually spent about 10 minutes during the launch event, imagine just 10 minutes talking about the build and design, it really shows how much effort they have actually added into their build and design, which I think could be overlooked by a lot of people very fast. And I just want to give some attention to this because it's really nice. Because let's admit it, every phone that's going to come out this year, every flagship phone is going to come out with a glass on the back, which is pretty standard nowadays. They're going to have your camera bumps on the top left corner. They're going to have their quad camera setup, triple camera setup, penta camera setup as well. So it's going to be a rectangular shape. It's going to get boring, it's going to get annoying to a point, I think, maybe except for the Huawei Mate 50 Pro if they're going to come up with a phone like that. But in general, I think everybody's going to come up with the same module. And what Samsung has done really well is the fact that they have embedded the camera module all the way to the sides to give it that more futuristic feel and give it more of a standout compared to the many competitions that I think would come out in 2021. So yes, I really like the design and the fact that you actually have a aluminium, framework to protect those cameras, because most of the time they would give you a strong glass. But you know why the glass would actually break in the end of the day? I don't have to quote this too many times, but the fact they're actually giving you an aluminium to protect your cameras, because Samsung knows, yes, you might not have a case right off the box, you might put it on your table, you might get some scratches, but the fact that you have some protection to protect those cameras, I think is a solution that Samsung created, but they did solve it. And yes, if you go on to the front, you do have your curved screens, but to be honest, this is one of the most minimal curved screen that is out there. In terms of the display size, it has reduced from 6.9 to 6.8 if you look at the Note 20 Ultra and the S20 Ultra. But I think it's a good thing because the curve on the sides is very minimal. So like when I slapped on the case on this, I didn't really notice the curve that much. Like if I compare this to the OnePlus 8 Pro, the Xiaomi Mi 10 series, that was just too aggressive and then I didn't really like it. And you don't get that extra protection if you have a case on for your phone. So yes, props off to that, the whole build and design, I would give it to the S21 Ultra. I'm saying it right now, this is one of the best things that Samsung has done on the S21 series. So next up is the display of the S21 Ultra, and you know what? There's nothing much to argue over here because Samsung makes one of the best displays there is out there. Yes, this time with the S21 Ultra, you can go up to 120Hz all the way to Quad HD+, which is something we never seen on previous devices like the S20 Ultra and Note 20 Ultra. Yes, this is a thing which is pretty standard nowadays, and yes, in 2021, I do expect those gaming phones to push it up to 144Hz, maybe all the way to maybe 200Hz, which is something we haven't seen before. But I feel with the 120Hz, this is the so-called optimum, this is the base that you would actually want your display refresh rate to be. And over here, they have an LTPO display to control your refresh rate all the way from 14 to 120Hz. That's how they're going to save some battery over there. The only beef that I have with this is the fact that they do not have a video switching feature, something we have seen with the OnePlus 8 Pro and Xiaomi Mi 10T Pro. Basically, it just pushes up the content you're watching all the way to 60Hz. Yes, it does look a bit weird, but it is a feature that I did really enjoy with the OnePlus 8 Pro. It just pushes up even shows from many years ago, it pushes up all the way to 60Hz, and it actually looks really good. Sadly, the S21 Ultra does not include this yet, so hopefully we would see this in future Samsung phones. Next up is One UI on Samsung devices, and One UI has come a long way since it was first launched with the S10 series. Yes, I did enjoy the Oxygen OS experience and more of that stock Android experience on most of my phones in previous years, but over the past 1 year or so, I did learn how to appreciate the One UI experience on my Samsung devices. Yes, you are still getting that stock Android experience. It's not the fastest, I would say, it's not the smoothest, I would say as well, but it does give you a lot more features because you're paying a premium price, so you want to get more from your phone. And I feel here with the One UI 3.1, you have your DeX mode, you have your quick share, you have your smart view, a lot of things. And if you're into the Samsung ecosystem in terms of you're getting tablets, your laptops or whatever, the whole integration of this is really good, and I could see this actually rivaling what Apple has done with their iPhones and of course their iPads and their MacBooks as well. So One UI 3.1, I gotta say, it will hold up by end of the year. It's gonna be one of the best softwares to use. It does give you, like I said, a lot of features like the Edge panel and so on. It's not too simple, I would say that they cut down too much, but again, it does give you a lot more features, and I gotta say, Samsung Pay, really good on this. Yes, the next part here is a little bit controversial, but we have to talk about it. Yes, that chipset. So right now with the S21 Ultra, it's running the EXYNOS 2100. We all know about EXYNOS. It has been a lot of videos so has been over the past few years talking about the EXYNOS chipsets and how bad it has been compared to the Snapdragon. Yes, here in Malaysia, we only get the EXYNOS sets, which is pretty disappointing. And yes, we all know about the battle between the EXYNOS and Snapdragon over the past few years. And if you notice, for the past few years, when they put up this battle up against each other, Snapdragon easily wins. But if you've seen this year with all the many videos and tests that people have done over the past few weeks, you'll notice that it's not that easy to say which one is the ultimate best. Yes, in general, I would say the Exynos would have more prolonged heating, but it's really pushed to the absolute limit. It's really pushed to their peak performance. And like I said in my previous video with Mr. Who's Boss in the video, I don't think many people will actually push it on a daily basis. So I gotta say, in terms of everyday usage, the Exynos 2100 has been really good for me. And this is me coming from the S20 series with the Exynos 990, which was absolutely trash, and I did criticize it a lot. But over here, I gotta give credit where credit's due. Exynos this year, with what Samsung has done, has been impressive, and it may not be up to the Snapdragon 888 level, but I gotta say, for most average users, the Exynos 2100 would be still really good by end of 2021. So also we have to talk about those small premium features that make this a flagship phone, like having a wireless charging, an IP rating, a glass build, and all these other small things that some people might miss out, because yes, I do understand by end of the year there will be a lot of cheaper phones as well. Phones coming out at about half the price of this, maybe even 1/3 the price of this, with a lot of specs built into it. But you have to remember that those phones would have some cutbacks as well. Maybe they're going to cut back in the design of this, maybe give you a plastic phone. They might cut in the camera department. There are a few areas that definitely they have to cut to lower down the cost. So yes, again, if you want to get a full-on flagship experience, you can, of course, I understand it, get it with a cheaper phone. But yes, with the S21 Ultra, it will still give you everything you need by end of 2021. So the next thing to talk about here are those huge cameras on the back, and Samsung has played it actually very smart this year in 2021 with the S21 Ultra. Now what I mean by that, because in the Android world, everybody would be looking at numbers. They're going to say like, my phone has 64 megapixel, my phone has 48 megapixel, because when they look at iPhones, they're going to see like, it's just 12 megapixel. But if you look at what like phone companies like Apple has done, Huawei has done, it's all about the computer software side of things. But again, if you're going to convince this to an Android user, they just want to see good numbers. And what they have done here is really good. Samsung is providing you a 108 megapixel main lens. You have your ultra wide as well, which does act as your macro shooter, and of course 2 telephoto cameras. And yes, I do understand that many other phone companies will be coming out with the same setup as well. They might give you a dedicated macro shooter, which is, to be honest, just really useless because the quality is really bad. Over here, Samsung is giving you really good 4 very premium cameras, which I've taken so far, taken photos, taken videos. I really did like it. The only beef that I didn't like about this is the fact that if you're taking night shots, it didn't really perform to the level I expected it to be. The Note 20 Ultra actually did better in most shots at night, and hopefully this can be fixed with future updates by end of 2021. And if you look at the selfie camera, again, they have played it very smart. They give you a 40 megapixel shooter, which is really cool, dual pixel, which is really nice, and I gotta say, so far selfies over here with the S21 Ultra is really good. So next thing to talk about here is the battery and charging on the Galaxy S21 Ultra. In terms of battery, I think Samsung has done a really good job. They're giving you a 5000 mAh battery, which I think is a really good size in 2021. It will give you a very good amount of time, about 6 to 7 hours for me, because I do a lot of editing and I do watch a lot of shows. For most people, you might even get longer. And the fact that you actually have an LTPO display, it does also help you to save some battery juice, which is going to be something really good that everybody would appreciate. But when we talk about the charging, this is something Samsung has been lacking over the past few years. Many other phone companies are coming out with much faster charging. We have already seen 40 watts, 35 watts, 65 watts, even up to 100 watts of charging, which is just insane. This is something Samsung hasn't really adopted yet to their Samsung flagship lineups. They did try to introduce the 45 watts of charging, but they kind of just discontinued that and continued with the 25 watts, which is just pretty disappointing. It's fast, it's decent, but of course if you compare this to the many other China phones that is out there, it's way behind. So yes, this is it. This is my Foresight review of the Galaxy S21 Ultra. Feel free to clip this up by end of this year. Maybe my whole view of this would have changed because there are going to be so many phones. But what I'm going to say right now here in March, I think the Galaxy S21 Ultra would still be a beast by end of this year. So of course, these are just my thoughts and my opinions, so do leave yours in the comments down below. So if you did enjoy this video, do click that like and smash that subscribe button down below. Do also follow me on my social as well on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and also here on YouTube at Dr. Hammer's Tech. So that is it. This is Dr. Hammer's Tech. Stay safe, take care, and wash those hands.